All right. So we're going to be doing a looky at Guild Wars Reforged. This is obviously not a review of the entirety of what makes Guild Wars 1 Guild Wars, because there is so much content in this game, it is ridiculous. This is simply a review of essentially the changes and essentially, possibly, I guess, what, future things they're looking at down the track, because they now have a dedicated team to this, and that's why we actually now have Guild Wars Reforged. So let's jump in and talk about it. Now, nothing's changed outside of the logo that I can see, obviously. You've got the music, and that's fine. You still got your character select screen here, which is cool, right? Which is all good. Let's jump in. Because I want to be able to showcase the graphic changes in real time. Because that's, like when people think of like when you get like a remaster of something or a reforged version, it always comes back to, oh, is it new graphics and stuff like that? And it sort of is and it sort of isn't. First look, when you look at the game, you're like, nah, this doesn't look any different whatsoever. Right? Now, what they have done is they've made it so that this game will work on essentially modern day monitors, high refresh rates, DPI, that type of thing. So you don't have to have any worry at all there. You'll also notice too, up at the top left, which is the default position, I've moved it slightly, is that you actually have a quest tracker, right? So when you actually have like an actual quest that you have highlighted, it'll actually showcase now on the screen where it is. The downside of this, of course, is that it doesn't sort of give you any visual pathway. So for this particular quest, it's nowhere here, right? Like this quest is not available anywhere in this particular region of Cantha whatsoever. So it's not actually giving me any sort of indication when I look at the map to go, oh, highlight the boat, click on the boat, then go to Lion's Arch, etc., right? They don't have that. Because I know they were talking about quest tracking, but it feels like the quest tracking isn't as robust as I thought it would be compared to other games. So I don't know, I don't know if they're still going to be working on that, or it was simply just a visualizer on screen for you to see. Obviously, you can't get more than that available. You can only click on one at a time, and that's it. Right, so we're going to go outside, and I want to showcase a couple of the graphical changes that you yourself can see visually change when I tick these things on or off. And I just wanted to choose a nice sort of sunny-esque area, if you will, to be able to showcase this. Now, also, just to add, your skill buttons have actually been upgraded to a high definition version available, which is like really, really nice. So every single one of these skills, which I believe they pulled from elsewhere, I can't remember where the location was, but they were able to manage to retrieve these and put these into the game. So now all of these skills are in they're a true original high def position. And it kind of took me back a bit at first, because when I was looking down, I run this assassin build, which is really good for hard mode content. The move you move like a dwarf. I'm looking at it going, man, that looks really clear. I don't know. And then I remembered that actually made it so that all the skills, like the icons, are now all available in high definition, and it looks fantastic. Look, absolutely phenomenal. It really does. By the way, the game is obviously, it's been available on Steam for a while. What they've done is they've made it so that when you first log in, you can actually link your account to a previous account like that you're maybe using on a standalone launcher, which is good. All three of the standalone campaigns are included. Prophecies, Factions, and Nightfall are all in there together. Either North is still sold separately, and from what I understand from one of their streams, is that it's because possibly down the track it maybe look like they're adding DLC. Maybe. Right? But they're doing this in a way so that way it's a lot easier for them to deal with essentially the coding side of it. Right? Which is pretty cool. Alright? So I'm not against that. It's been reduced in price too. If you go to the official website for the Guild Wars stuff, where you buy things like name changes, skill packs, stuff like that, they're all been reduced now in price too, to make it a lot more, to bring it up to speed of how things would be normally in the market right now, which is good. So anyway, so let's look at the graphics that we have available for us. We go over to graphics. First quickly was sound. They had, I think it was an EAX thing or something they had here. They've changed that now to using OpenAL Soft. I always have that ticked. When I have it not ticked, everything goes real quiet. So anyway, so let's back up a little bit before we get some heat on us. All right, so we're gonna look at the graphics. We'll get some of the grass in shot too. All right. So the new stuff that they've added in here, and obviously you can see here with the enable HD skill icons as well. So if we turn them off again, just to show you in real time, right? You can see the difference there. There was a massive difference. Look at that clarity. That's perfect. Absolutely perfect. Well done to the team. So, okay, so we've got things here with enable post-process effects. I have a feeling it's been in there since, but we'll cover that. HD Bloom, SSAO, and then use best texture filtering, enhanced draw distance. Enhanced draw distance has been a thing. So if we turn that off, you'll notice that things in the background go a bit sort of cloudy. What this does is it removes that cloud and pushes it all the way back so you can see as far as you want. So let's start turning things off. So if we untick enable post-process effects, right, you can see there's actually a visual difference there. Things seem a little bit more harsher, right, in how they're looking, right? A little bit closer on the character. Turn it back on, and everything just looks so much better. Looks so much better. That's a big difference right there, right? The HD Bloom, of course, right? You'll notice there that we don't have. It's very subtle. Maybe we'll see if it does anything when you look at the sky. Not so much at the sky, but you'll notice the surrounds. All right, a little bit extra light there, which is really nice. Cool. Just adds to the flavor of the charm. It gives that 90s bold and the beautiful glow. Also, now we got SSAO. So if we untick that, okay, let's see if we can see a visual difference. Very slightly, very slightly. It's not a big launch, but you'll notice here, if we look at this part over here, right, you'll notice that when it's on, we're getting some more shadows, which is really nice, based on what I'm assuming, and I could be wrong here, the direction of light. Right, so you notice that when it's off, okay, there's no shadow here, but when you turn it on, based on the fact that the light is coming from obviously this position here, coming down, then yeah, it's creating shadow. So I'm assuming that's what it is. Then of course you've got use best texture filtering, which is, like I said, has always been there. And I'm not really seeing a massive difference, but there I have it on there. So that's all the like the graphic options as far as that goes in terms of like visual. You've obviously got here things with the DPI scaling, which is really great. So that's really nice too. But outside of that, there's not really a whole bunch of extra stuff that they have added in graphically. So what we get here is essentially it's not a remaster, it's not a remake. It's them taking the old game, which still, to be perfectly honest, this is my personal opinion, right? I still think this looks really, really good. I think it looks like really, really good for its age. So they've taken the old game and they just simply given some extra graphical options. Think of it kind of like World of Warcraft, where they didn't remake the game in a whole new engine. Over time, they started adding in different graphical options for us to be able to, just increase the quality of the game, add extra better shadows, aliasing, all that sort of jazz, which really enhances the game itself. Now, I'm going to have a separate video talking about my personal wish list that I hope that the team does down the track, because there are some things that they could do, quality of life, that would actually fix this in terms of making it a lot more accessible for people and whatnot. We'll go jump over to Cameron, because Cameron is always, it's still the hub, for Guild Wars, still to this day. But we are seeing a lot more activity around the map, which is really nice for returning players and maybe new players as well. So one of the other things they have done, which I won't be able to showcase today. I'll have to do that in a separate video. But they did add. See, that armor there looks so much better now because of the slight graphical updates that they've added in. This adds a little more oomph, to actually how it looks. So basically, they made it so that you can play this on Steam Deck, right? So, and I haven't tried it out yet. I do have it installed on my Steam Deck. I haven't tried it out yet. I've tried out Guild Wars 2 on the Steam Deck, and it runs pretty good. I made some slight adjustments to controls, but I haven't tried it out on Steam Deck, so I can't comment on that. But if it's anything like what they've done with Guild Wars 2, then I can't imagine it will be bad, like at all. Okay. So, but yeah, so far, like that's kind of it. It was more. This is kind of like, this is the start. They actually say this is the start of updates that they're bringing in for the game, which is like pretty interesting. And so obviously having these little bits of extra graphics in there, which is nice. Obviously reducing the price, congealing everything together so you don't actually buy the separate campaigns anymore. They're just all together, as they should. I mean, the game's 20 years old. They should be sort of condensing that sort of thing down. I think that's a good thing. And then, from there, I'm going to go to one of my favorite spots, just memory-wise. This is like one of my favorite spots back in the old days when I first started playing. Pike and Square. Yeah, I remember sitting in here trying to figure out where to go next and kind of like really struggling with it. Look how many people are here. Look how many people are here. This is great to see. This is very, very cool to see. Very beloved game, very awesome game. So, but yes, you'll notice too, like, obviously I do have the quest available, Last Hierophant, which is a dungeon quest for Tyria. And even though I have it listed up here, it doesn't actually showcase anywhere on the map where I actually need to go. So I'm kind of hoping that we'll get some sort of marker on the map rather than having to go onto the zone itself before we start getting directions, which is what it normally does. But yeah, like just quickly, just like the armor, like even though, yeah, it's dated, sure, right? But, just having those little bit of extra graphic options in there do make a difference. They absolutely do make a difference, visually. And it's an old game, right? So I can't imagine this thing not, running on most, if not all, platforms. If you run on a Steam Deck, absolutely. So I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I missed. Let me just check the wiki, because I don't think I did. I don't think I have. I think I've covered pretty much everything that's in there. Rendering improvements, yeah, we've already covered that. Your audio system. Yeah, that's the other thing too. So if you owned one of the campaigns, right, you'll get the other campaigns for free. And by the way, if you own the game anyway, this whole update is free, right? So if you're missing a campaign, like one of the standalone campaigns, you'll get it. All the graphical updates and everything else I've talked about, you'll get it. It's all part of it. And then it talks about repricing either North and other DLC. Steam players will be able to link their Hall of Monuments to Guild Wars 2 Steam accounts. That's really handy, which is something they've never been able to do before. An updated UI featuring HD skill icons and larger text options. So that's really cool. You have those options there as well. And of course, obviously, so this is the part where I'm not sure. So you got controller support as well. So you can actually hook up a controller and play the game using a controller. Let me just see. Yeah, here you go. So you've got gamepad options here, right? You have available. I haven't tested out with the gamepad as well. I think I'll do that separately with the Steam Deck, because I'll have to reposition my camera so I'm looking at it so you guys can see me actually playing it. We also, so the new quest tracking and direction system. Again, like I said, right, you can change how this looks, right, at the top here, yeah? But we don't have anything else. Now you can, if you go into options, interface, you can actually modify everything. You can move everything around. I don't know if anyone knew this. You can move everything around. You can take icons, by the way, from your menu and drag them anywhere on your screen. You'll notice I have all my menu icons down here. But the tracking system, unless there's let me check in the options system. Maybe it's something I haven't enabled or disabled. because the whispers, show chat, show phone names, enable dragging, start menu icons. Yeah, I've already done that. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything about quest tracking at all. Okay, so yeah, I if anyone has any information on that, please let me know in the chat, because I love seeing it on screen. Like, this is obviously modern day stuff, right? But moving forward, I'd like to see perhaps, the ability to click on it, right? It opens up this, or it opens up the map, and then it shows you, like, it zooms out and then zooms in. Like how in Guild Wars 2 does it. It'll zoom out and zoom in on the location, and that's it. And then we see arrows pointing to different access points to take us there, so we can do the quest. Because right now, this looks really cool. It does. It looks really, really cool. But right now, it's just a visual. And when I was testing it yesterday with another quest, it felt no different. I felt like, oh, okay, I'm on the same map. It just shows where I have to go on the map, which is what it used to do before. And that was it. So again, I'm just wondering if they're still working it out, or this is how it's supposed to be. But anyway, I give this a solid up. Like, this is a solid 10 out of 10. Like, this is one of my favorite games of all time. One of my favorite online games of all time. To see it populated again, especially in old towns like this, is truly remarkable. Like, it is. Let's test the. Let's test. Let's see if there's more other people around here. But yeah, this is truly remarkable stuff. Like, I'm super stoked, that we have this particular update, because it is great. It is very cool. Nah, not a lot of people here. And the fact that they have a dedicated team has me excited. Like, it actually has me excited, because it means that we now have a team that's going to be working on constant issues. We've already had a few build updates already in the game, which is really nice. So that's cool. I'm glad that they've actually done that. And hang on, let's go down to Lion's Arch just to finalize. So having those build updates rolling through, which is good. Having a dedicated team, which is good. It means that, more and more stuff can get worked on and added. And like I said, my follow-up video will be talking specifically about things that I would want personally in the game. Quality of life, especially after all of this time, that I think would be very necessary. And it's not above the Guild Wars team to do it. Guild Wars 1, as an example, never had, or at least from my memory, had the ability to repair. So you never needed to repair your gear, your weapons, or your actual gear that you wear. And eventually they brought that into Guild Wars 2, because they realized, we don't need it. Don't worry about it. It's not important, right? So it's not above the team to do certain small things like that if they're in there. But yeah, this is definitely very cool. But anyway, guys, I'll leave it there. Let me know what you think of Guild Wars Reforged. Catch you next time.